Dokken's Dream Warriors is one of those songs that could have only come out of the 80s, a perfect blend of heavy metal madness, movie magic, and the electricity that lived somewhere between horror and rock. To me, it's one of the best examples of how music and film harmonized with each other back then. Everything was bigger, louder, and more colorful, and Dream Warriors captured that whole spirit in one cocaine-filled, neon-lit explosion of metal. The first time I saw that video, it felt like watching a crossover between MTV and the Midnight Horror movie. Freddy Krueger popping up between guitar solos while the band was shredding through the smoke. It's the kind of thing that feels both over the top and completely perfect. And when Dream Warriors dropped as part of A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, it just clicked. The world of glam metal and horror were made for each other.
I'm just hanging out here with a couple of my rock and roll buds from Dokken. Yeah, they did a new Nightmare on Elm Street Part 3 song called Dream Warriors. Right, guys? And the film starts this Friday. Right, guys? Right. So let's take a look at their video, and then maybe you and I, we could go out and grab a drink, maybe pick up a couple of girls, huh?
Yeah, no problem.
Can you guys get me in the Hard Rock? Huh?
Oh, no problem. No problem.
Here's a good time.
Yeah.
There's something about that song that fits the movie's vibe perfectly. It's melodic but still heavy. You've got George Lynch's guitar tone cutting through the mix like a buzzsaw, Don Dokken's vocals soaring over everything, and that chorus that feels almost heroic. It fits the movie because it has the same heroic but also dark tone, and it also captures the 80s perfectly. I mean, this movie is also arguably one of the best within the franchise, if not the best, and part of that is not just the story but also its extreme stylization. This movie was made for the 80s and couldn't have come out at any other time.
There's no waking up from this nightmare. A Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 3, Dream Warriors.
And when people heard Dream Warriors and saw the music video, realizing it was the official soundtrack, it just blew everyone's mind. Heavy metal mixing with horror, but not in an extreme way, like a lot of other horror movies would do in the following years and decades. Dream Warriors was fun. It had a dark atmosphere because the movie was still horror, but it also had this heroic, almost slightly uplifting and hopeful tone, just like the movie. That's what made both the song and the movie work so well. It's like the song gave you a reason to stand up to the monster, and that's part of what made the 80s so special. Even the horror movies had anthems. To me, Dream Warriors is one of those tracks that reminds you of how much care and fun went into movie tie-ins back then. Bands like Dokken were part of that whole movement where rock music and genre films were speaking the same language. Both were rebellious, loud, and had a flair for the dramatic. When you put those worlds together, you've got something like this, a song that sounds like the climax of a film even without the visuals. The music video itself is such a time capsule. The lighting, the editing, the hair, it's all unapologetically 80s. But beyond the style, there's a real energy to it. You can tell everyone involved knew they were making something cool, even if it was a little ridiculous. And that's part of the charm. The 80s didn't overthink too much. You wanted to make a heavy metal anthem for a horror sequel? You did it. You put the band in the movie, you let Freddy crack a few one-liners and snore cocaine with George Lynch, and you gave the audience something to blast on cassette all summer. In my opinion, what makes Dream Warriors so special is that it doesn't just sound good, it feels cinematic. You can close your eyes and picture the movie, the lighting and the fog. It's horror and heroism wrapped up in a 3-minute metal anthem. And it's not just nostalgia, it still hits today. I think part of the reason it still holds up is because it came from a time when everything was still done with a sense of wonder. Music videos were shot on film, the effects were practical, and everything felt handcrafted. You can see the imperfections, and that's what gives it life. The fake walls, the fog machines, the exaggerated acting, it's all part of that VHS texture that makes it so fun to revisit. Looking back, I think Dream Warriors is one of those songs that sums up the entire spirit of 80s metal. It's over the top, cinematic, and full of heart. It's tied to a horror movie, but it stands on its own as a killer track. It's proof of how much creativity there was in that decade, how rock bands weren't afraid to experiment, and how films weren't afraid to let musicians become part of the story. When I throw on Dream Warriors today, it feels like slipping back into that era. The glow of tube TVs, the hum of VHS tapes, the smell of cheap popcorn and neon. It's the sound of an entire moment in pop culture when metal and horror were kings. And to me, that's why it will always be one of the greats, not just because it rocks, but because it reminds you of a time when music videos could make you believe in monsters and heroes all at once.